Welcome in to the Subconscious Mind Mastery Podcast. Thomas Miller with you in the waning weeks of summer 2021 is where we are on the history marker. So many of you will listen to this live, and then a lot of you will catch it years down the road, and we will always be looking back at the year 2000, 2021, and who knows wow, what a time period. And I wanted to speak to that here because something came to me over this past week that I wanted to pass on, and it's in the context of what's going on in our world right now. I mean, there's no running from the reality that we are under a lot of strain and stress on planet Earth. Now, we do a lot here to talk about the ways to lift up and out of that, and that is exactly what this is going to be about. We are going to do that right now. But I think we also have to, we have to be realistic, and we have to realize that all of us, in one way or another, our lives have been changed or altered. We are facing various challenges across the board. We are feeling the tension that the world is feeling today. And that's one of the reasons why we created this healing convergence that we're doing on our Facebook group. And this is something that we're going to continue. We might take breaks. I don't know. Energy is good to let it build and then bring back and then build some more. So we'll float with the energy. But this healing convergence has been amazing. And the reason is because we are blending our energies together and sending them up. It's the collective that why everybody is feeling the way that they're feeling. So the comments are after these sessions, these Facebook Lives on Sunday night that we've been doing, is just this energy jolt, and everybody's commenting on it. My only conclusion is that it is the collectivity. It's our intention of just getting ourselves out of the way, putting our energy forward, and letting it go up to space. I think that's what's causing it. But I do think there's a little more, and that's what this podcast is going to be about. But to continue from here, other than the 2-minute mark here, you're going to have to go with me on a bit of a Neptunian, illusory dreamland journey into outer space to get the rest of this podcast. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to enter the world of the ethereal? And it really is. I mean, this might be the first Subconscious Mind Mastery science fiction podcast that we have done. But that's what it's going to be, a sci-fi podcast. But I think it might help us put into context and answer the question of why. Because many of us today are asking the question, why is all of this going on? Suddenly, why is all of this taking place? And you know me, as of January last year, 2020, when the two planets, Saturn and Pluto, conjoined in the sky in exact alignment, that was an obvious omen. If we look back at history, it's very clear what is going on. We are in a shifting period of consciousness, control, and energy on the planet. It happened in the 1700s, when this country was formed. The United States was formed in the late 1700s. Pluto was in the same position. Capricorn wasn't. If we walk it back to the year 1518, when the Protestant Reformation came, Pluto and Saturn were in the same place. And when we walk it back to the previous time, see, it takes 250 years. These are 250-year cycles. So the previous one before that was 1284, and that was a bridge between basically the Dark Ages and the Italian Renaissance. So we don't have to study history even. We just go back and look at these previous astrological alignments, and this is where the heavens declare the glory of God. I mean, we are being given these divine messages as to what's going on. We just have to believe it. So here's my thesis. I've been narrating Fred's audiobooks still, as many of you know, and his work over the last couple of years has shifted. It's moved from the reality creation, the manifesting, the energy, to exploring our origins and discussing spacefaring travelers, if you will. And these last two books that I did were about linguistic studies, specifically ancient German, and a common theme in ancient literature, interpretation, and symbolism that Earth was basically seeded from outer space. Cue the Star Wars music. And that there are so many metaphors that he pointed out, way too many to be coincidental, and way too many to just argue away as insignificant. And he's talking about ancient glyphs in caves and whatnot, ancient symbolism, coins, everywhere. It showed up everywhere. Traveling on saucers, landing on pyramids, and basically that our origins came from outer space. I don't want to elaborate that much more on that because there are a lot of books you could listen to there, audio books that if you wanted to start. It basically, for his work, it began with the books on Atlantis, and then the book that he did, The Pleiades and Our Secret Destiny, and then into the linguistic books. And it's just been this theme that has been incredible for me to grasp what's going on consciously. Well, so then I'm led to North Carolina, and I start reading the same thing. So I find this book that was written in the 1990s by a lady who is gone now, and the book is not available anymore. There are a few too high-priced used copies out there. But it was written by the same lady that, Paige Bryant is her name, that she was credited with naming the vortexes in Sedona. Well, she moved to the Smoky Mountains for the last couple of decades of her life and realized that there was this revival of spirituality poised in the Smoky Mountains. And she wrote the book from the perspective of the Cherokee Indians. And the Cherokee even realized that this spiritual energy that was really in a part of the, how do I put this? What we're doing is we're connecting back to Atlantis, is in essence what it is. And that the Cherokee believed that they were seeded, that they came from the Pleiades. The Cherokee Indians, and see, I grew up in northeastern Oklahoma, Cherokee country. But that was their after the Trail of Tears Cherokee country. Western North Carolina was where they were moved from. And what Fred clearly defined in his book was that the Cherokee language is a replication of the Pleiadian language, which is ancient German, not modern German, ancient German, which he believes was the common language before in the biblical narrative of the Tower of Babel, that the common language was ancient German. So maybe the Star Wars theme is not so weird after all. Then I get my hands on this book from, actually a listener referred this to me, and I got the book. And it was about these encounters with these tunnels that were created by little people, which was all the ancient traditions talk of little people. Well, there are a bunch of tunnels south of Asheville that have been encountered by construction crews. So in just the handful of months that I've been in this area, here comes all this paranormal stuff and this connection to outer space. And then when I was narrating the latest or the extraterrestrial linguistics book, here comes this section where he talks about that the Japanese word for Pleiades is Subaru. Subaru. Well, I'd had my eye on one for a while, and I just was like, that was it. That energy has guided me so well over the last 8 years. I went out and bought a Subaru. I mean, I did. I literally, when he hit that, I turned the thing off. I got in the car and went down and got one. That was about how it went. And, it's just my little connection to this energy. I needed one anyway, so I've been planning it for a while. I just there it was. There was the trigger. Go. It's ready. It's yours. So, we are talking about some pretty weird, heavenly Star Wars sci-fi stuff here. But here's where it goes, and I'm just going to do a real quick overview. That if you've read some of this or studied some of this on your own, you know that basically the thought goes like this, that there could be a galactic council out there somewhere that basically governs galactic activities, including things that happen here on Earth. And that part of the composition of this council includes what is called the reptilian. And the reptilian in this story, in this sci-fi tale, are the bad guys. And, of course, if you've followed this thread or studied this at all, you know that there are various groups and cultures and certain things I'm not going to mention, but areas where the reptilian have permeated families, permeated control of governments, reptilian descent, reptilian influence on Earth, the bad guys. And my goodness, you can't write a fiction book or a sci-fi book without white hats and black hats, right? So here are the galactic black hats, the reptilians. Now, the good guys are seeds or influences from specifically areas like the Pleiades and the star Sirius, which is supposedly a very high energy environment. So what's come to me over several different meditations and walks and connections and just little droplets of things intersecting my path that I'm just trying to put some breadcrumbs together is, let's just play like that there is this amplified cosmic battle going on right now, and that the reptilian side are going for authoritarian control. Well, even if this is all a made-up sci-fi movie, you can tell all you have to do is read the headlines right now for that, right? And that the good guys are going for the opposite, higher consciousness, by tearing down old systems and structures. That's the Saturn-Pluto convergence right there. And that this struggle, just described, is basically at its beginning stages. I know some of y'all think I'm crazy. Just stay with me. It's a good story anyway. I mean, think about this as a movie. It would be great. And even the astrology shows this going on, because there is a very significant period in late 2023 that, and then continuing past that actually for quite some time, but beginning in 2023, which we are leading up to now. The energy, the music is building. Our John Williams theme in the stars is getting ready to crescendo. Well, we're going to have a great big measure and bar of crescendo in 2023. And this is exactly why we're doing this healing convergence, because I feel that we are feeling that building energy. So when I mention the healing convergence and we talk about this energy vibe that people are feeling, I'm thinking that it's coming from as we are a group of humans being recognized, and as we are sending our intentions and our energies up into outer space, the good guys are basically collecting it and sending it right back to us in the form of high energy. So much so that people haven't been able to sleep. Old pattern stuff is coming up because it can't exist in the arena or the energy of this amplification. And perhaps the most significant thing that I've seen coming from this is that things in our group are starting to pop. Things are starting to happen. And it's only been this, we're doing one tonight as I'm recording this, and this will be number 3. But just this past week, for one of our members who has participated in these, I mean like the path of an EF5 tornado cleared the path for this person to take over the presidency of a significant and powerful and large teachers union in her town. And she will bring consciousness to it. See, I'm so excited about this because in our little galactic drama here, what this is saying to me is that the good guys are now putting conscious people in positions. And look at how it is. Grassroots, which to me says we're going to build this from the base up. And it's almost, and this person is struggling with, am I even capable of this? Why me? Do I have it in me? She's grieving the loss of her mother a little while ago and needs time with that. Grieving is basically a 1-year process. Well, yet the universe is saying, now it's time. I mean, it was so clear. I'm working on a concept that I had a breakthrough. A meeting is going to be happening tomorrow as I'm recording this about expanding my work onto radio, expanding consciousness. And I'm thinking, and I've been thinking about this quite a bit lately, especially when I was doing those astrology readings and I kept seeing it coming up over and over and over, that likely you, whoever you are, you will be tapped for opportunities to step into these new roles. It's coming. I've seen it. I know collectively we have felt it, and it is there. So the point is to be looking for these opportunities, and then when they present themselves, embrace them. Because, let's just say, in our story, the good guys are putting their team together and putting them in key places where they know the influence can happen. So if you get tapped on the shoulder for this, have full confidence that the good guys are supporting you. I don't know how this galactic tale, this sci-fi movie of ours will end. I have no idea what future chapters and scenes in our movie will unfold. You know, the scriptwriters can really go to town on sci-fi movies and the special effects crews take over. And we may have all of that. But I just really am encouraged over the last even just 2 weeks that the good guys are still going to win. And you are on that side, or else you wouldn't be listening to this. And speaking of, thank you for listening. Whatever galactic battles are ahead of us, enjoy the movie and enjoy the journey. I'm Thomas Miller. Thanks for listening.